Your health, your way, your community. Make the change. Join the movement.
Guys, I'm Marty Fokker. I've just recently joined into the Living Free movement. I had a look around and got an invite to actually have a look at it, thanks to Nick, and had a look around. It really seems like a great idea. So a good community approach, really has some things that I'm really interested in. So obviously the lawful me side, where I'm involved in a bit of stuff there with some court cases as well, and been following Nick's, and good to see what other people are doing. Like, I see the whole system's pretty criminal and corrupt, to be honest, and we've got to find our best ways to deal with it. And then I'm definitely interested in the growing me side. So I know where we're heading right now. The food's pretty horrible. They're going to limit what produce is available anyway. And so the last couple of years, I've been really getting into growing my own food. And the health me side is really interesting to me as well, because I've never really had much trust in the medical system. And the last couple of years have just really taken that away from me even more. And just looking for any natural remedies and treatments for anything is really a very beneficial thing. And I see you guys set up the Living Free movement for really helping people out and to try and find a very positive way of dealing with the issues that we've got with ourselves at the moment and where the world's heading. So if I guess, Dave, you started this up with Tom, I assume, and
So I started basically the idea originally was that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma a couple of years ago. What I found was everything that doing natural was really hard to find information, hard to source the products that they were suggesting as good natural alternatives. And then if I wanted chemotherapy, I could get it the next day. And so what I found was that it took me a few months of research to find out and sort of plan out what I was going to do as my course of action. And that time is pretty critical, I guess. So it's one of those things that you want to try to get that information as quick as possible and get onto the right track. So for me, I reached out to Tom. I'd watched a lot of Tom's videos. We'd done a couple of things before together, and Tom's, very, great wealth of knowledge in the natural alternative health area. And so we kicked off Heal Me as the original project. And we shared a lot of that information that I'd found, and then a lot of other information. And generally, when you're looking at health, it comes across the board. So, what could help a chronic disease such as a cancer sort of thing can help right across the board. So healthy eating, healthy living, all of that. So a lot of what we shared was what we found there, and a lot of people got a lot of benefits from what we were doing there. So then, around the sort of COVID stuff, a lot of people were losing their jobs and being forced to the vaccination stuff. And so Tom and I both had a background in doing some alternative sort of lawful processes. So we thought we'd start Lawful Me. And two of our close friends, Nick Patterson and Darren Dixon, we also invited on as a wealth of knowledge to join us and to help, those people in need. So we started Lawful Me, and that's been really successful. And then we also did Spiritual Me and Grow Me. So that's what we've done to start off, but I'll hand over to Tom to give a bit more information on those.
But yeah, so basically the intention, as Dave said, was that we started off an alternative health platform where we could just help people learn more about, even within the alternative health industry, there's a lot of dogma and just old stuff and things that never worked in the first place, and a lot of pharmaceutical fingers in the natural health world as well. So we were helping to break down some of the things that, haven't really been broken down properly before. And then leading into the lawful side, and it's really what's grown the most is the community and a lot of people that are supporting each other. And even on our call today on the Heal Me section, there was a few ladies there that had just this great wealth of knowledge in areas to do with afterlife and passing over and things like that. So it just continues to grow with people being able to offer their own solutions as well and their own expertise and backgrounds. So it's pretty exciting.
And Nick and Darren, you both jumped on the Lawful Me side of things. Do you want to explain what we do in Lawful Me and what sort of resources and that are available there?
Yeah, well, basically, we've set up a it's important to explain the intention behind it. We're trying to teach people how to be weapons in the law and how to defend themselves and defend others. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of gurus promising all sorts of things, follow my process and we'll get you free from the system. But the reality is, if you don't know how the system operates, you don't know the legislation, you don't know the case law, you don't know how to write documents, how to write affidavits, how to do these things, how to research, you're not going to have much power. You're going to be reliant on whoever the guru is that's promising all of these things. You're going to be relying on somebody else. So the whole idea is about self-empowerment, get people to put in the hard work, the diligent work to become knowledgeable and confident at applying, legal principles and lawful principles in defense of their own rights and the rights of others. And a lot of people don't want to do that because it's hard. So, it really is aimed at making people self-reliant and empowering them. So, that's what it's essentially for. It's not like a platform where you're going to go and we're going to do everything for you and we're going to get you out of paying taxes or paying fines or this, that, and the other. We're going to do our best to teach you what you need to know to be able to work your way around the system yourself, because you'll have the confidence because you put in the hard work, and we're just basically leading you, down the path of self-empowerment with those lawful principles.
Darren, did you want to add anything to that?
Lawful Me's a platform, as Nick was saying, for self-empowerment, so that people can basically learn everything and be able to defend themselves, whether it be, a simple fine or right through to anything, with contract law, etc. There's so many different scopes and variances of the law, and there's so many different applications that you can apply to those different areas. So Lawful Me's a place where you can go for a resource to find those new position from where you can stand from and that you can apply to your own everyday experiences and the things that you're dealing with in life.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what I just see the whole living free movement as, just self-empowering you to be able to deal with all the situations at every aspect, from health, lawful side, and growing your own food and all that sort of stuff. So it's a pretty amazing resource that you guys have here.
Yeah, well, I see them all as, I don't see them as exclusive in their own right. I see health as taking full responsibility for yourself. I see your freedom as taking responsibility for yourself and what you create. The spiritual aspect is in line with all of that. And then obviously with food, being more autonomous and getting to know the farmers in your area, and then starting to grow some of your own food as well, because that sort of thing is not linked into the supply chain that you mentioned before, where that's starting to be squeezed out and the quality's already horrendous anyway. But when you actually go into how things are done more privately, such as, people who farm naturally and growing your own stuff, it's limitless. So it's kind of like all of the problems that people face in the world usually are because they are invested in the fictional world. And that is that world of entities, the public system, the fake stuff, the corporate driven world, as opposed to the world of the private, which realistically is that land of the living. And it's the land where we're able to do what we know to do, as in guided by the right principles and natural laws. And then you really are limited in what you can create there, as in unlimited in what you can create there and the life that you can live. And then you're not worried about all the things that majority of people in society seem to be worried about. They're constantly living in fear. So our whole platform really is about helping to guide people into coming back into themselves, reclaim their standing in life, and start to really create with the power that they've been given, and not giving that away to the system that they so fear.
Definitely what we really got to do, like that fear that the whole world's driven on. So they're pushing fear to make people take these choices that they really don't want. And so we really need to just, do our own thing as much as possible and have a community that can actually link people together that are all on the same page. So that's what the greatest thing is.
Well, Marty, I mean, the whole idea of fear is just a liar that gets into your head that takes away from your faith. It's like a man that comes into your head and fights with your faith, and then it brings its friend doubt in, and then doubt goes to war with your confidence, and then it brings in all of these other things that are destructive, and they diminish you. But it's important that we overcome that fear, and we recognize what we really are and who we really are, so that we can become empowered. Because I look at it like we're in a big war, a big spiritual war, a war of ideas. And the greatest way we can fight against our, let's say, alleged oppressors, because there's people that are being oppressed, it's for us to become the most knowledgeable people we can, because knowledge is power, the most fearless people that we can, to apply that knowledge, and to then be willing to have the faith to apply it. Then miracles happen, and people's lives are changed, and other people are inspired, which means to have the spirit in. People see you do something courageous to help somebody, and they go, hey, that's awesome. That resonates with me. I want to be like that. But to have the power to go and fight, just like I was a professional fighter, right? I wouldn't go in and fight in the ring or in the cage if I hadn't trained. People are going to train, they're going to do the hard work. And we're providing a platform where they can do the hard work and learn the right stuff, where they can basically get good training to go out to war against all of those false ideas that exist in the world.
So, like, what's the best place for people to actually find Living Free Movement? So where can they go?
So you've got livingfreemovement.org is the website, and then you can access all the different me's. So you can pick whatever platforms you like. I think we'll send you a special link as well for those followers for you as well. That will be a bundle deal that they can get, which will give them a discount if they want to do that. Otherwise, if they're just after Lawful Me, they can go to lawful.me. Amazing resources there. And I hope everyone, takes the opportunity while they've backed off on a few things to not be complacent, and to be ready for whatever's coming in the future.
I think one of the best resources there on Lawful Me is the library of webinars that we've done. I know that people keep reinforcing with me when they speak to me. I keep on going back to the webinars because they're so empowering, and that's what the best value that people are getting, because basically there's a record there of what people can actually go back and have a look on certain subject matters that is whatever's affecting them. And we've got general Q&A once a month. So the Q&As are also there as well, and they're just a general position on certain matters that people have that we discuss and pull apart, and basically try to provide some sort of a remedy.
Which is really good for people that, maybe they can't even get on the webinars, but they can get in the chat and they can just ask those questions, and we can get onto those questions and try to provide the best remedy possible. Yeah,
so we do webinars every week for Lawful Me and Heal Me. And people can jump on with the Q&As. We do the fundamental series, which is basically all those fundamental things. So for those who are just starting out, so that they can feel, get all the basics under their belt. And then we do some more advanced topics as well. So we spread that up. We do role play as well, which is always good. So that's like Nick's talking about, is that training before going out to battle. And it's all really useful sort of stuff. And the library is massive with all other resources for those who want to go really deep with, resources from all across the world. So heaps of stuff there. And we love having everyone on the webinars, and it's always popular on a Monday night. So
we've noticed a lot of growth within the community that's been with us for the last, say, 6 to 12 months, where a lot of the things that used to bother them, or they were worried about, or fearing, or very impatient about, they've really come into their own for a lot of people. And the questions seem to have changed somewhat, where there's always new people coming through and asking some of the same questions, but which is good, because it's always a new opportunity to approach how do you handle something, like, because there's many different ways. So you've got your remedy within the offer that's being given to you. And that's where Darren's just got this amazing wealth of knowledge that continues to surprise and impress everybody with his knowledge of legislation and how things work and where there's remedy within their own guidelines, right? And then there's this whole other aspect to it, which is what's happening on an inner level. And that's a journey that's really, it takes a little while for people to really click into that. And then obviously the way that you grow is going to be at your own pace. So what we've always given to people is this, I guess, way of approaching things, which is you're not really here to like, I just joined so I can handle a speeding fine, or I just joined because I never want to get like a forced medication or something. It's people who are learning how to stand on their own 2 feet over time so that they learn how to handle things in many different ways and can become a lot more empowered in their daily life. So on that side of things, it's really, I don't know, it's inspiring for us as the team that co-runs the platform to see this kind of growth. And we actually learn from some of the people that are on the platform as well, that are the guests. So all in all, it's a very empowering place to be for all of us. And it's not like a quick fix one-stop shop where you're just coming to like get out of, as people put it, predicaments that they got themselves into. It's learning how to grow through it and become a better, more empowered individual as a result of the experience that you have at hand to learn from. So I'm personally really enjoying that aspect.
Yeah, it is really good. It's just like I've sort of been looking through the site the last 3 or 4 weeks and just going through all the archives, and there's just so much information out there on pretty much any topic. It would take me like years just to go through most of it, but just you can go through and have a good look. And there's so much good discussion going on in the groups as well. Lots of other people just putting in great posts and comments in there. And so it's a really good community from what I can see. And just that resource is just amazing. And like I haven't been able to get into too many of the live webinars, but just having it available there, just to recap later on, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I suppose the forum is worth mentioning. As Marty just said, there's an interactive forum where you can speak to everybody on the platform. You can ask questions, you can assist others if you have some knowledge or background in a particular subject matter. So yeah, it's quite interactive that way, where you can actually communicate with every single other person on that platform.
So anything else that we really need to bring up, you guys reckon? Or
I would just encourage people as well, because like you said, Marty, there is a lot there, and there's a lot of value for what you get for your yearly membership. So I think what it's important to do is, so that you don't get overwhelmed and maybe not use, you don't have to consume everything that's there. I always give a buffet analogy, where it's not good to go into a buffet thinking you have to eat everything that's available, because you tend to make yourself sick or it's not worth going. So if you can be very selective about what it is that you want to get out of it, and then find the resources that will support your personal intention or mission, and then you'll grow really, really quickly with that approach. And you'll also find that you'll get the most value from it. And then as you continue to do that, you'll grow along with the platform. And so realistically, like honestly, we see this being a very long-term platform for the majority of people that want to go on this kind of journey. And we've laid it out in a way that, yes, there is a lot, but if you approach it intelligently and just really figure out for yourself what you want to get out of it, you'll have a really smooth learning curve, and be very, you'll be surprised at how quickly you'll actually move forward if you take a good approach to it like that.
And I guess one other question is, like, it's a very much a online based platform, but is there much like local real life groups coming together through the platform?
Yeah, people have been forming their own groups and meeting up and everything, which is great. We really encourage that, because online is amazing. It's an amazing tool to utilize, but it's just that it's a tool. Like, that doesn't replace things like in-person meetups, getting together to explore things and learn together. And, Darren has some other, he runs with some other platforms, various not webinars, but seminars that people come and travel to. And we'll be doing some of our own together on this platform. Me and Dave are currently about to launch some picnic meetup events for members of the platform while we travel around. And yeah, people are just doing it off their own bat as well, and making their own meetup groups. So it's really, really good to see. And we do encourage that. I think it's super important to not just do everything online.
Yeah, it's really good. Like it's a great place to start online. And obviously you can talk to people all around the world. It's not just an Australian thing, it's all around the world. But then to be able to meet up with the local people is definitely something you want to do as well. And like you said, with the farmers, you want to meet who's producing your food with all the supply chain issues, and you want to be able to get good access to everything and just good knowledge from all the local people in your area, where it actually, like in terms of like growing food, it's each area is, quite different. So you can't do a whole general Australia or worldwide thing. So you got to know what works in your area. So that's where communicating with the people in your area really helps out.
So Marty, one of the other things that we've got on the platform, we're working with a group called Sovereign by Design, and they sort of help people who want to transition across in their businesses or whatever into the private, setting up private bank accounts, that sort of thing. So that's a big aspect of that dual world that Tom spoke about, is sort of removing ourselves from the public and putting ourselves in the private, and being able to do that and trade with each other is sort of the next aspect to that. So there's a marketplace coming on board very shortly in 2023 as well. So lots of really cool things happening. But most of it's about self-empowerment and helping each other in the community, and not whinging and, sitting with the old and just creating the new and getting on with it. So yeah, that's the exciting stuff, I think.
That private thing you just mentioned, like the public-private thing, when you look at where the world's heading with the social credit system and digital ID, it's going to come to a point where they're going to push so hard. People have that clear choice between their system and an alternate system. So we really need to help people out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, though, that the more they push, the more that we create. And so I don't necessarily see them pushing as a bad thing. I think that if we are to create something else, people seem to only work when they're, someone's really pushing them to do it. So you can see the complacency that's been happening recently, where people have just gone, oh, okay, we've got our freedoms back, but we're nowhere near that. So I really encourage everyone to sort of take that action and keep working through. And, hopefully we can get to a stage where we don't need anything from them. And that's really what I guess living free is all about, is not requiring, their benefits and privileges that they offer us. So, yeah.
I think that's definitely one of the main parts of living free. So to be able to get out of that system, and like you, I see it as a positive, the way the world's heading. I think it's just going to make it easier for people to choose to opt out. Where at the moment, it's convenient to be opting in, but once it gets to a level where people will just go, I don't really want to be part of this. So just having some good options out there and starting out with that is really the great thing.
Well, yeah, Marty, that's a really good point you brought up, because that whole opting, that means option, and it is a choice. So it's important for people to realize that you don't have to be fearful either of being in or out of the system or what have you, because everything that they do within that system, there's a maximum of law, which is what you create, you own. So all of the systems in there, like I've got quite a following on social media, and people always ask me if I care if I'm shadow banned, and then I'm like, no, I didn't create that system. It's theirs. They can ban me. They can shadow ban me. I'm not going to complain about it. I don't care. It's not mine. So what I do is I put effort into creating something new and different, such as the Living Free movement with Dave and the guys. And likewise, I think it's important for people to remember that they don't actually force you to do anything. Everything that people are concerned about, it's because they've bound themselves to it, and it's generally out of fear, and that leads to this convenience trap and everything else. And when people learn that they don't have anything really to fear, and that it's by choice that they're in it, and no one's going to come after them and lock them in their own house and chain them up and force them to do anything, it doesn't happen that way. They just like coerce you and put these ideas in your head, like Nick said earlier. And when you learn how to come back into yourself and not worry about that and just focus on what you're creating, well, it actually starts to become really quite, I won't say easy, because easy and simple are two different things, but it does become relatively simple. And as long as you dedicate to that kind of path, you find that they don't have their hooks in you anymore, and you're a lot more free. And you just don't, we us guys that run this platform, we don't worry about the same things that other people worry about. Doesn't mean that we're invincible, and it doesn't mean that we're like above the law or above people or anything like that. But we've got to a stage where we're quite comfortable with our paths through life. We're happy operating privately, and we don't concern ourselves with the same concerns that other people seem to have. And so that's why part of this platform is just giving people the confidence in some of the guidance that they can do things a different way, but they have to choose. Like, we don't do the work for anyone. We don't hold anyone's hand, but we do provide that kind of guidance where, look, guys, we've walked this path a little bit more than some others, and we're all still learning. Well, maybe not Darren. He definitely knows a lot, but the rest of us are still learning.
Oh, I know. You never stop learning, Tom.
But, so we're all doing this together. It's a lot of fun. Like you probably notice yourself, Marty, like on the Monday night calls when the four of us are running it, we have a really good time. It's not serious and all right, guys, we're going to lecture you about this now. Like, it's very, there's a lot of good, happy vibes there. And that's because that comes with the confidence that you gain. We're just being comfortable in the life that you're leading and not being worried about what the government's going to make you do next, because they don't actually make you do anything. And that's a big thing for people to come to, is realizing that they're not forced. And then that gives them the freedom to start choosing and opting, taking that option of where they want to go with their own direction.
Yeah, very well said. So it's very clearly, it's always been a choice, and like they do coerce and threaten and try and make you take their choice, but it's getting clearer to see what the right choice is. And I think a lot of people are going that way. So it's really good. So, and living free is what we all want to do. We just don't need the government to be telling us what to do. Like, who wants that? Nobody really wants that. So you just want to live free, harm nobody, and that's it. Just do your own thing. And I guess the only other thing is regarding like the membership side. So, like, what are the costs generally for joining, and how does that work?
So each of the Me platforms like Heal Me, Grow Me, or Lawful Me are $100 per annum. There are bundle deals. Spiritual Me is always given for free as part of it, as we don't believe in charging for that. But yeah, $100 per annum. And then there's a bundle deal that we'll send you that will save a bunch of money for them to get all of that together. So I'll send that through and you can pop it in as a link.
Okay, thank you. Well, thanks so much for your time. Unless someone has anything else they seriously want to add, it would be probably, I think we've covered quite a bit here.
That was good. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate that.
Hey, thanks, Marty.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.